Now is Father Matthew Williams of the St. J's Collaborative in Quincy. Father, how are you doing?
I'm exhausted and grateful
Yes.
and amazing.
Yes, very big weekend for the parish and really the whole city of Quincy as a whole. So why don't you just kind of walk us through what your last weekend's like?
Yeah, so this past weekend, June the 14th particularly, Archbishop Henning came to St. John the Baptist Parish, and we're St. J's Collaborative, came to us in Quincy to bless our brand new Adoration Chapel. It's something that's been in the works for about 7 years or so, and this past Sunday was the day that he came to consecrate it and to consecrate the altar and to begin Perpetual Eucharistic Adoration. So the name of the chapel is called Holy Family Chapel.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I recently read an article that was talking about how Eucharistic adoration is like a spiritual step backwards. That's a thing of the past. But now here we are 15 years after the article is written, and you're building an adoration chapel. So it seems to be growing. So can you walk us through what's kind of the mindset, the rationale of wanting to build an adoration chapel and what led us to this point?
Yes, absolutely. So, for me, my vocation was inspired very much by Pope St. John Paul II, and I'm particularly blessed by going to numerous World Youth Days. And at the pinnacle of every World Youth Day is Mass with him. But prior to that is the vigil with Eucharistic adoration. So, and so many vocations have come out of Eucharistic adoration. So there's definitely connections there. So Mr. Tom Lester, he was inspired and came to me. It's interesting, when I arrived at the church at St. John the Baptist and St. Joseph's, I was thinking, could we have an adoration chapel here? You know, I would love to have an adoration chapel. And like within a couple of months, Tom came to me after having been in adoration, came to me and he said, I got this idea. What do you think about a chapel? I'm like, yes, absolutely. So that began around 2019, and things slowed down because of the pandemic, but then we kept going. So both of us know the power of adoration. Like when you take time to be in the presence of the Lord, things begin to happen. Lives are changed, people brought into deeper relation with Christ, and it gets you to contemplate about the deeper, most important realities of life. Like, why am I here? What's God's plan for my life? And the fruit of that becomes vocations. But also, I would say the parish becomes more alive as more people encounter Christ alive in the Eucharist.
Right, right. And you had mentioned that Eucharistic adoration is a big source of vocations. There was a survey recently that Georgetown conducted that found that Eucharistic adoration was actually the #1 prayer practice that led to vocations. So what impact are you hoping this adoration chapel has on the residents of Quincy and the parish?
Yes. So this is a gift not just for St. John's or St. John, St. Joseph's, our collaborative, or even for City of Quincy, although it is, but it's really this is for the whole archdiocese. And my hope and prayer is that more people come to experience the joy of spending an hour with the Lord, and honestly, holiness and discipleship, right? And then with that, to that sense of whether vocation, if a person hasn't discerned their vocation yet, or their sense of God's personal mission for them and how he's calling each individual to live out a life of discipleship, as Pope Francis said, disciples in mission, right? So how he's calling us to be missionary disciples. So my hope is it's encounter with Christ, it's holiness, it's vocation, and it's like going out now and living as intentional disciples in the world.
Yeah. And you had mentioned that this is a perpetual adoration chapel, which means they need adorers in there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week,
Yes.
Which means you need people signing up so we can have somebody present the whole time. Why should somebody sign up for a holy hour, and how do they do it?
Oh, let me count the ways, but I would just say why. Because we believe as Catholics that Jesus is truly present there, body, blood, soul, and divinity. So a time in adoration is really time with the Lord himself. Because we live in a crazy world and we can get stuck in the horizontal, and we need to make time to step back, to reflect on the greater things of life, and to reflect upon the fact that God has created us in his image and likeness, and that like we're called to live not from the outside in, but from the inside out. And then lastly, because the Lord desires to spend time with us. Like he loves us. He said to the apostles, could you not spend 1 hour with me?
Right, right. It's beautiful.
So St. J's Quincy, stjsquincy.org is where they can find us and sign up to be an adorer or come to visit our chapel.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Father.
You're welcome.
Great.
Thank you, my friend.
Absolutely. All right, now back to the show.